finally somebody's talking about it, and it's Rolling Stone that decided to write an article on it. But this is something, we've showed you guys compilations, we've showed you videos of basically Trump senior moments or dementia moments or gaffe moments, whatever the hell you want to call it. But it's definitely getting worse, bro. It is. In fact, remember the last time we covered this, he had like 3 or 4 different like eyebrow raising gaffes in one day. It was like one day that it happened. Well, we're not the only ones who were paying attention. Also, Rolling Stone is, so let me walk you through this here. So they say the following: Trump's senior moments are getting worse. Does America have another president in decline, or is Trump just being Trump? I think we all know the answer to that. But that is why he gets away with it, right? He does kind of get away with it because he's got that Trumpy characteristic, that Trumpy quality, which makes him feel like he's still there, right? It's all about how you present it, how you speak. And as somebody said a while ago, Biden's got the kind of mental decline that makes him appear very confused, right? Whereas Trump has the kind of mental decline that just makes you sound more angry. And I think that helps him. I think it helps him because if you sound like you have conviction in your voice, you can get away with a lot more shit. Whereas if you look confused and sound confused, people are going to go, that guy's confused, right? But if you are confused, but you're just belligerent, they go, I don't know, he's belligerent, right? They don't realize the confusion part. All right, so let me walk you through it. Trump told a false story about his uncle teaching the Uni Bomber. Remember when Biden told that insane story about fighting Corn Pop, who was a bad dude, and it produced a whole news cycle about how the aging president, it could be losing it? Well, this should have been Trump's Corn Pop moment. Earlier this month, while addressing attendees at a Pennsylvania energy summit, Trump told a bizarre story about his uncle, former Massachusetts Institute of Technology professor John Trump. Quote, Ted Kaczynski was one of his students, Trump claimed, referring to the prodigal mathematician turned hermit and serial mass murderer known as the Unabomber. That's a smart man. Kaczynski was one of his students. Do you know who Kaczynski was? Trump said. There's very little difference between a madman and a genius. But Kaczynski, I said, what kind of a student was he, Uncle John? Dr. John Trump, he said, seriously good. He said he'd go around correcting everybody, but it didn't work out so well for him. Basically, nothing about that story, outside of Trump's uncle being an MIT professor, was true. Kaczynski was not a student at MIT, ever. He got his undergraduate degree at Harvard, and he completed his master's and doctorate at the University of Michigan. John Trump died in 1985, more than a decade before Kaczynski was caught and identified as the Unabomber. It's extremely unlikely John Trump would have known him, and there is no reason Trump would have asked his uncle about Kaczynski. Oh my God, bro. I think people are used to dealing with other individuals who are relatively honest, relatively straightforward, relatively truth-telling. And so it's hard for us to wrap our minds around a prodigious, serial, pathological liar. But that's what Trump is. He just says shit, bro. He just says shit. And here he is just saying shit. Every part of that story was totally fucking made up. Every part of that story was fake as fake could be, dog. It really is incredible. All right, let's continue. Trump said he was surprised Jerome Powell, whom he appointed, was appointed. Trump built a career on firing people. He loves it. It gives him a thrill. There's one man in D.C. he apparently cannot fire, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, and is driving him up the wall. Powell was appointed to his position as Fed Chair in 2018 by Trump and ushered the American economy through the turmoil of the COVID-19 pandemic and a subsequent period of persistent inflation that battered consumers. Despite the Fed having mostly gotten a handle on inflation, Trump has been publicly fuming and threatening to fire Powell for months now over his refusal to cut down interest rates, partially in response to Trump's inflationary tariffs and pinball economic policies. Earlier this month, Trump complained that Powell was a terrible Fed chair. I'm surprised he was appointed. I was surprised, frankly, that Biden put him in and extended him, he added. Biden did reappoint Powell, but it was Trump who initially appointed him. At this point, though, it seems that blaming his predecessor is so reflexive for Trump that he's erased his own appointments from his memory. We also have Trump dumped on his own trade deal. During his first term, Trump regularly made a point of criticizing NAFTA. Okay, you guys remember this. So basically, Trump took a look at the new NAFTA, the USMCA, when he got in the second time. He was like, this is a horrible trade. Who made this trade deal? This trade deal sucks. This is one of the worst trade deals I've ever seen. And then, so he threw that out and started tariffing the shit out of Canada again, or at least threatening to tariff Canada again. And the reality was, he was shitting on his own trade deal, bro. That was his trade deal. Trump called the Prime Minister of Japan Mr. Japan. Come on, bro. Come on. There are very basic expectations of being a head of state. One is remembering the names of your international counterparts, even if only for a few minutes in front of a camera. Should you forget, say, the name of the Japanese prime minister, Shigeru Ishiba, the conventions of the English language provide several alternatives that would allow one to avoid outing yourself and as forgetful or ignorant. The Prime Minister of Japan or Prime Minister would likely suffice, not as Trump chose to blurt out, Mr. Japan. Dear Mr. Japan, here's the story, Trump said during a June interview with Fox News on his proposed deadlines for tariff deals with foreign governments. You're going to pay a 25% tariff on your own cars. The Trump administration ultimately did figure out whom they needed to address their letter and struck a deal with the Japanese government to avoid implementation of ruinous tariffs. Trump said he's going to spend time in Florida when asked about detainees in Alligator Alcatraz. This one's wild. Listen to this. Ready? During a press conference following his visit to a Florida detention center built deep in the Everglades, a location chosen for its outright hostility to human life, Trump was asked by a reporter how long he expected detainees to be held in the center before being deported. The president instead responded with a bizarre rant about how he would be spending plenty of time in Florida, how much he loved the state, and how nice it was for the reporter to think of him. Bro, what? Oh my God. This is my home state. I love it. I love your government. I love all the people around. These are all friends of mine. I feel very comfortable in this state. I'll spend a lot of time here. Oh my God. The president added that he had a very nice little place, nice little cottage in Palm Beach, a reference to his Mar-a-Lago luxury golf club. He then bemoaned that many people were leaving cities like New York to come to places like Palm Beach and states like Florida. But thank you very much. I'll be here as much as I can. Very nice question. He concluded, leaving the actual question unanswered and the room confused. Oh my God. Like, what is going on, bro? His brain is cooked. I mean, I'm talking straight up scrambled eggs, cottage cheese, burnt toast. Like, what is going on? In his brain, he's got, that little monkey thing that jams together the tambourine things? That's what he's got one of those going on in his head. Jesus Christ. And then we have, of course, Trump rambled about trophy wives and yachts during his West Point commencement speech. I remember that one. Do you guys remember that one? Anyway, this is just some of them. This doesn't even include, you go watch the last segment we did on Trump's cognitive decline, and we have like way more examples than this, but this is just the recent ones. Bro, it's true. And the fact, like, here's the scary part, right? Eventually, with the Democrats, it got to the point where, like, you had Nancy Pelosi, you had Barack Obama, you had the Pod Save guys, you had fucking actors like George Clooney, who's a big Democratic donor. You had all these people on the Democratic side go, you know what, Pops? I'm sorry, man. You got to go, dog. Like, you're not there anymore, homie. We saw you in the debate. You kind of fell apart. You're even in these backroom, fundraising events. You look like you don't know where the hell you are. You look confused all the time. And so the Democrats eventually pulled the plug. Did it take them too long? Yes. But did they eventually do it? Also, yes. On the Republican side, bro, Trump could, put his underwear on his head in the morning, and every single Republican would be on Fox News acting like it's a new fashion trend. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? We all know that's true. I mean, he already looks like a fucking madman when he puts on that, he puts on this bronzer that's 17 shades too dark for his face, right? And acts like, somebody made a good comparison. They showed a picture of Biden with the orange face and the fucked up, Trump-like hair. And they were like, imagine Biden walked around like this. What would everybody be saying? They would say, oh my God, fucking put him in a straitjacket. This guy's done, right? But Trump doesn't say, it's Trump. It is what it is. But it's weird, bro. It's weird. I don't know how much more obvious can it be that he's losing multiple steps, right? I don't know. But I fear that there's nothing he could say or do that would make the Republican base break from him. Because remember, it was not that long ago he was out there saying, we're going to take Greenland. We're going to take Greenland. We're going to own Greenland. And, his base was like, yeah, fuck it. Let's own. It's like, this is the ramblings of a senile madman, and you guys are all hopping on board like he just came up with the best thing since sliced bread. What? And that's what we're dealing with. So, I don't know, man, but this is a story more... Jake Tapper, where you at, dog? Jake Tapper can write a book on Biden's cognitive decline and never shut the fuck up about it, even as Trump is shoving people into concentration camps. But now you got nothing to say about this? You got anything to say about the fact that his fucking ankles are double the size that they should be? That he's got edema in his ankles? That could be a sign of potential heart failure? You got anything to say about the fact that he's caked his hand in foundation to try to cover up Lord only knows what? Got anything to say about the fucking cognitive decline and the answers that make no sense and the being lost and falling asleep in events and all that shit? Nothing. Because these assholes like Jake Tapper, they only say these things after it's safe, right? Back when it's not safe, they'll defend the status quo. They'll fucking, ride or die on that front. But after it's safe, then, I was always against the really old president continue. Like, shut the fuck up, man. Shut the fuck up. But Trump's losing it, that's for sure. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.